morning. Our topic this morning is our defining moment, and it's about what happens when we make up our mind to invite the good that is ours by divine birthright to actually manifest in our experience. I know what you're thinking already. We talk about that every week. We talk about that in every class. Of course we do, and we try to keep it interesting because that's what we're about, manifesting the good that is ours by divine birthright in our experience right now. Many of us find our way to this teaching in search of something. Usually more money, yes? Okay. But it could even be happier relationships or better health or all of the above. Somebody drags us here, or we come with someone because we've seen their life improve and become happier and we want what they have. So that's how we get introduced to Science of Mind teaching. And for most of us, we start small. We experiment with the technology of God and say, create a parking space. How many of you started that way with the parking space? Mm-hmm.
I'm happy about that.
It works. It still works. It works every time. And once we master that, we advance. We think, well, if I can manifest a parking space, I can manifest a new car to maneuver into that parking space, can I? And how about a nice garage for the car attached to my new house? Oh, but then I need a promotion at work and a salary increase to afford all of that. And it all manifests. And at some point we think, this is wonderful, and maybe there's more to life than material things. Maybe we can apply the principle to health or love. And we do that, and if we're diligent, health and love naturally follow, don't they? That's how it works. It's a guarantee. Okay? So life is good, and we want to share that with others. There are all kinds of ways we can do that. We can tell them, we can show them, we can threaten them if they don't come with us to church. We can bribe them with money, or in my case, food. That's how I got to Science of Mind. I was bribed with food. I'll do anything for food, pretty much. In some centers, though, they actually have people give testimonials, which is kind of fun. We used to do that once a month in San Diego. And if the person keeps it to 1 or 2 minutes and not 30 or 40 minutes, it works very well because there's somebody other than a minister standing up there preaching it. Someone who's saying, if I can do it, anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. And it works really nicely. It inspires people. And it informs as well. I was in a service like that not too long ago, and a man shared about his journey from illness to wellness. And it was so wonderful. He was actually a really good speaker, and his story was heartwarming. And by the time he stepped off the platform, there was not a dry eye in the house, except for mine. And it's not that I wasn't touched by his story, because I was. But he lost me somewhere. I went off on a thought tangent when he declared, my defining moment was when the doctor said I was free of cancer. And I wanted to yell from the back of the room, because I like to sit in the back of the room with the bad kids. I wanted to say, no, that was not your defining moment. Your defining moment happened way before that. But I was good and I kept my mouth shut. But I'm right, you know. Now, when was his defining moment? I have no idea. And it's not for me to say, and really it's none of my business. But I can tell you this. Whenever it happened at the moment he decided to be healthy. That could have been in childhood. Maybe he was raised in a family where health was just the way of being. Or maybe he acquired the belief along the way and decided to be a healthy person. Or maybe it happened the day he got the cancer diagnosis. I don't know when it happened. But I know that it happened long before the doctor said anything. The doctor doesn't get to give him the clean bill of health. That man's defining moment happened when he made the decision to be healthy. And this is true for all of us in every area of our lives. When we make up our minds, this is how I want my life to be. That's the defining moment. Okay? How do we get there? How do we create defining moments? How do we make the choice that changes the course of our lives, of our future, of our destiny? Well, we have to start with an idea. And when we start with that idea and we make the choice and we make the decision, we cross an invisible barrier. How many of you shop at the Hub or other places where they have the carts, and if you go too far, they just lock up completely? Yeah. Okay. I haven't figured out where that threshold is. But I like to park far away because then you walk a little farther. It's good, you know, it's exercise, it counts. And I forget every time, and I'll have a cart full of groceries or little gorgeous things for the bookstore or whatever, and I'm just pushing it toward my faraway car. I could manifest a front row space, don't get me wrong. I like to park far away. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, God, not this again. Where is that invisible barrier? Okay. In life, it's a little more subtle. Maybe it's not that abrupt, but we do have to cross that invisible barrier between what has been and what can be. And we're always right there on the threshold, okay? Now, the moment we decide to live a bigger life, a happier life, a fuller life, a more wonderful life, whatever the life of our dreams is, when we make that decision, that's a defining moment. It starts with an idea. Now, in this teaching, we refer to that kind of idea as a mental equivalent. How many of you are familiar with that term? Mental equivalent. In our textbook, The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes writes, the demonstration we make corresponds with our ability to provide a mental equivalent of our desire. What does he mean? That whatever is happening in our experience is a direct result of our thinking. Okay? God is always present and poised to give us whatever we want. But we have to tell God what it is that we want. Otherwise, we get whatever we get. Okay? And until we do this, until we make the decision that, yes, I will have this idea, I will provide this mental equivalent, nothing changes. Nothing changes. We maintain the status quo. But the moment we say yes and we establish a new mindset, we cross that imaginary barrier. It's always been this way, and now we're saying yes to something more, something greater, bigger, better, whatever it is that we want. And we align with infinite possibility. Because Divine Spirit is infinite possibility, and when we align with it, providence moves. And everything changes. The entire universe conspires on our behalf. So we're going to talk about our defining moment and mental equivalence by answering 3 questions. What is a mental equivalent? How do we provide a mental equivalent? And how do we sustain the mental equivalent? It's not enough to have one. We have to keep breathing life into it. So what is a mental equivalent? Imagine that you call a cement company and you order cement. And a couple of days later, here comes the truck driving up your street looking for your address. Now, when it gets there, you have to tell the driver and his helpers where to pour it, right? Maybe it's a driveway. Maybe it's a patio. Maybe it's a swimming pool. Maybe it's some of that fabulous outdoor furniture made out of cement that lasts forever and costs a fortune. It can be whatever you want it to be, but you have to provide the mold, yes? You can't say to the crew, oh, just make me something. They're going to go like, okay. Yeah, and dump it right there. And then you have this big blob of yuck, of nothing, you know. And then the neighbors are looking at you and say, oh, it's abstract sculpture. But you know it's not. It's not anything. You have to provide the mold. And the same is true in life. We provide the mold by way of our ideas. That is a mental equivalent. Okay. That actual term was coined by Emmett Fox, the great 20th century metaphysician, who brought people in by the thousands to hear him in New York City, week after week after week, 5,000 people, no problem, because he was brilliant. He gave 2 lectures on the subject, and they were compiled into a small pamphlet called The Mental Equivalent. We have it in the new bookstore, actually. If you don't, how many of you have it and love it and use it? It's Reverend Mary Jo's Bible. If you don't have it, don't leave without it. It's $2. You have to have it. It will really change your life. It puts everything in perspective, and you'll love the way he uses language. This is what he writes. For anything that you want in your life, a healthy body, a satisfactory vocation, friends, opportunities, and above all, the understanding of God, you must furnish a mental equivalent. Okay, so it's up to us to provide it. How do we provide it? How do we provide it? Well, again, first, we have to know what we want. We can't say to God, oh, just give me whatever. Now, a lot of us are doing that, and we've been doing it for years and years, and we get whatever. We have to say what we want. We have to know what we want. How many of you have a vision for your life? And if you don't have a vision for your life, for those of you who don't, how is it? Would you like it to be better? Would you like to have more or feel healthier or heal some relationships? Okay? Or are you 100% overjoyed with the things, the way they are? I don't know. But there's always more. We have to have a vision for our life. We have to have a dream, a desire, an idea. It begins with an idea, and this is how we create our mental equivalent, and it starts in our imagination. We use the power of our thought to create vivid imagery of the thing we want. We see ourselves living the life we want to live, doing the things we want to do, being with the people we want to be with, spending the money, enjoying the health, being with those friends, with those family members, on vacation, in another country, whatever it is. Whatever you want, you have images in your mind that correspond to it. Yes? Does anyone not have images that correspond to what you want in life? Okay. So in the area of health, when you think of yourself healthy, the way you want to be healthy, you have pictures in your mind. When you think of yourself wealthy, with finances the way you want them, you see yourself doing something with that money. Maybe you're traveling, or you're sponsoring a child to go to college, or you're funding a charity, or you're just giving to your church. Whatever you're doing something in your mind with that money. And the same thing with love. We're all in relationships. Maybe some of them are not as harmonious as we'd like them to be. And if we have a vision for how those should be, or how we would love them to be, we see what that looks like. We're getting along better with this particular person. Or, we're more connected to our children, or whatever it is. We have a vision for that. And there are images that go with it. That's our imagination. Now, I'm going to warn you right now, those of you who've read Mental Equivalent already know, and those of you who will take it home today and read it, Emmett Fox warns against doing this. He thinks we should provide just the simple idea and allow divine law to do the rest. Now, I'm not saying I disagree. We know it works that way. But we also know that the contemporary leaders in the human potential movement are proving time after time beyond doubt that imagination is the most powerful tool we possess for making our dreams come true. It is the highest mental faculty we can employ in the service of living the life of our dreams. So they're both right. Emmett is right, and everyone else is right too. We can do both. We can provide the simple idea, and we can embellish it with images so that we bring our energy up to a level that welcomes the manifestation of what we want into our lives. We have to see it. We have to see it. And the more detail we provide, the more effective our mold will be. Like with the cement, I would like a driveway. Okay, boom. Now, if I say that, I'm not going to stand outside and make sure they make the driveway correctly, that they smooth it and that the slope is correct and it's all even and there's no rough spots. I'm not attached to the outcome. I either go back in the house or I go off to work, and I let them do their part. I provide the mold. They provide the substance to fill it. Life works this way as well. When we provide the mental equivalent, God, with all its infinite resources, pours itself into the mold of our idea to bring forth what we want, the life we want to live, the things we love, the people, everything, all of it. So we're not attached to the form. I was in a bakery a couple of weeks ago ordering a vegan birthday cake for my dad. Was it delicious? And I was talking to the guy behind the counter, young kid. Everyone looks like a young kid to me, more and more. And all of a sudden, this really angry woman blows through the door, and she practically pushes me out of the way of the cash register, and she's yelling, "I can't believe this happened again.